What is up, everybody? We're back here at King Films for another college football video. This one is a college football bowl recap and national championship prediction on January 11th between the Buckeyes and the Crimson Tide. And AJ, to start out, you went 6-5 in these bowls laid out here, and you went 2-2 on your betting locks. So what happened in your predictions?
Let's start with the Cure Bowl between Liberty and Coastal Carolina. This was a great start for me. I had Liberty money line in that game and the lock for the spread, and both hit despite a late fumble that baffled me. All the running back had to do was go down, but for some reason he really did not want to go into the end zone, and I see why. Coastal Carolina was scoring the ball very quick, so that money line hit. Let's go on to the Alamo Bowl, where my best bet flopped massively. I would like to apologize for this one. I thought Colorado plus 12.5 was a steal. The line went down to about 9, so I was pretty confident heading into the game, and then the Longhorns just dominated. That's all I can say. Even their backup quarterback was very good. This is going to be a very good Longhorns team under Sarkisian next year, and expect them to do great things. My next lock was the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl between NC State and Kentucky. I had NC State plus 3. That hit, but my game prediction of NC State winning did not, so that was a bittersweet one right there. And then in my final lock, I had Alabama covering against Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl, and everyone knows that this was just a backdoor cover by Notre Dame and a pretty bad beat. Ryan, how'd you do with your predictions and betting locks?
Well, I went 5-6 on my bowl predictions. We'll get into the New Year's Six bowls later, but obviously you see the asterisk next to the terrible 0-3-1 record, and that's because of the Cotton Bowl, which I'll get into later. But first off, let's start into the Oklahoma State Miami Cheez-It Bowl. And so in my predictions, I went 5-6 straight up, and then an abysmal 0-3-1 on the best bet side. So I'll get into those. They were kind of circumstantial. I think I got pretty unlucky, and we'll get into the asterisk later and the Cotton Bowl. But first, we had the Cheez-It Bowl between the Oklahoma State Pokes and the Miami Hurricanes, and I had the Cowboys covering a 3-point spread against the Hurricanes, and they got up to a great lead, 21-0 in the first quarter. Obviously, prayers up for De'Aaron King. Tore his ACL. That's very sad. But I honestly don't think it made much of a difference. Their backup quarterback did great, got them up to 34 points, and really almost got them into overtime and potentially a winning scenario. But the Cowboys held on. I really think they should have covered in this one. And a quick note that the game time spread was Oklahoma State -1, so they would have covered that. So if you got this anytime past when our initial video was published, you would have covered if you were on the Oklahoma State side. Really what I thought was going to happen there. Then in my next one, I had San Jose State and a few points, and they really disappointed here. I mean, all you had to look at was the box score of the first quarter. 27-0, the Ball State Cardinals absolutely destroyed the San Jose State Spartans. And really, it was from a pick six early on, and that San Jose State defense, which had played so well in the Mountain West early in the season and in the conference title game, just get destroyed by the Ball State rushing attack. I mean, no one really predicted this. I mean, the San Jose State line went up, inflated at game time. It was around 9.5. So no one really saw this coming. This was one of the great upsets of bowl season as San Jose State gets destroyed in that one. And then in an abysmal Cotton Bowl, we had a pretty promising matchup between Florida and Oklahoma. And I had Florida at -3. I thought this was a great bet when this bowl game was first published. But obviously, the Florida's top 4 targets in this game did not play. And in my explanation, I mentioned all of them. Kyle Pitts, best tight end in college football, bar none. Then you had Kadarius Toney out for this game. Then you had Travion Grimes out. And then you had another player out, their 4th best receiver, due to COVID reasons. Obviously, the line flipped the other way. I think it was Oklahoma -9 at game time. So it flipped 12 points from Florida -3 to Oklahoma -9. So obviously, there's a big asterisk because I really didn't think Florida would win at game time. You can see in my Bowl Mania predictions, I actually predicted the Sooners at game time. And then my final lock was I had the UNC Tar Heels at +6. And if you could get them at game time, they were actually like +9, but it still wouldn't have covered. it was a bad beat for these folks as Texas A&M really went off and got a late fourth quarter touchdown. That was a bad beat. And really the box score was gnarly for this game. It was 24-7 in the fourth quarter for the Aggies as they scored 21 straight unanswered points in the fourth quarter to win and cover. So I really thought UNC would not only cover but win the game, but the Texas A&M Aggies really pulled it out in the fourth quarter. And there were also some notable opt-outs from UNC running backs, but that didn't make much of a difference here. Texas A&M was the better team.
So going on to our national championship predictions, for me personally, I'm going with Alabama. You guys saw on the last slide, I was able to predict both semifinal games right. I had the Buckeyes early, and I had Alabama by 1,000,000. And I'm just going to go with my original bracket here. I had Alabama winning the championship, and I'm going to stick with them. Ohio State did surprise me, so I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it close here throughout the game. And this has the potential to be a very good national championship game. But give me Alabama. They've got a good defense, a good offense. They're good all around. They've got players going to the NFL on both sides of the ball, and many of them. Give me that Mac Jones and Devontae Smith combination to hook up a couple times for touchdowns, and give me Alabama in a very high scoring game. Vegas already has the over-under at 77, which of course breaks all kinds of records, and I see this game going exactly that way. I'm assuming that Justin Fields will not have a serious injury come out of that brutal hit in the Clemson game. And Ryan, who do you have in the championship?
Well, obviously I predicted the All-State Sugar Bowl incorrectly. I had the Clemson Tigers not only winning that game, but then defeating Bama in the national title game. But obviously that didn't happen. Ohio State surprised in the Sugar Bowl to me. I thought Trevor Lawrence would be the X factor and would win Clemson that game on his back. Obviously he couldn't do it, and that was due to the ferocious and very talented Ohio State D-line. They don't have one great name like Nick Bosa and Chase Young as in previous years, but they have some studs that will be playing in the NFL someday. And so I think they'll really be able to rush the passer. Mac Jones will not be comfortable in this game, so I think that they're going to do much more than the Notre Dame D-line did. Obviously, Alabama, they're weakened in their interior offensive line, losing Landon Dickerson against Florida. So I think that's going to make a massive difference. I think Mac Jones isn't going to have the great stats that he's had all year that's made him a Heisman contender because he's been comfortable. I think he's going to be out of his comfort zone a little bit. I think Najee Harris is still going to have a great game. I mean, you can't really cover Devontae Smith, even though I do think that Ohio State has more perimeter talent than Notre Dame did in Sean Wade and some other great secondary players. And then Ohio State offense, I mean, Justin Fields, his draft stock has absolutely skyrocketed in the last couple days, and he'll be probably the second quarterback taken if he has a great title game here. This is really his chance to cement his Ohio State legacy, and Ryan Day as well, getting his first national title. I say the Buckeyes win. It's going to be a very high-scoring game, and it really hinges on the matchup that I laid out earlier, the Alabama offensive line against the Ohio State defensive line, but I think Ohio State wins that matchup. I think Trey Sermon has a great day on the ground, as he has in the last 2 games for Ohio State, and I think the Buckeyes are national champions come January 11th.
Be sure to comment your predictions below, like and subscribe on the video. Thank you for watching.